Hello everybody, this is Robert with Deep Thought Cycle Blog, and leaving on our way now to another student's house from Sun Yat-sen University campus. And actually there's a ferry ride behind here I wanted to go on. We're gonna go here. Let's see, how do they want us to go here? Alright, we're gonna go down the area that last time tried to grab my bike. You know, I could go a different way, but it's got so much scenery on there. Thought you guys might like it. It's kind of exciting, right? So a lot of stuff going on today. Had a great ride this morning. I don't know, I couldn't hit the 28 km/h average, maybe because of the Milozs Bridge. You guys could check out my Garmin. Oh, I made a mistake here. Should we go that way? I don't know, we could go this way or not. You guys could check out my Garmin Connect profile and my Strava for my morning rides. You know, I don't know, I debated about turning on and try to do a blog, but when you're going all out a little bit, and I know that's sad, that's my version of all out right now. It's kind of hard to talk at the same time. You know, oh, look at this lake here, huh? It's kind of hard to talk at the same time, right? So I did it by myself, but I got going much faster though. Much faster on the morning ride than the afternoon ride. But I try to occasionally go fast on the way home. But definitely, you know, I don't have the long endurance I used to have right now. And I'm carrying around like an extra 10 kilos or something, you know. I'm not talking about with my pannier bags. And yeah, so now I could talk to you, go a little bit slower, a little bit. And you know, a lot's happening lately. Just got finished teaching these kids, which are great. We were doing some poetry. You know, I got a WeChat. You guys check out my WeChat. It's Robert6641. If you want to see, I know WeChat's like the Chinese government's back door. But if you're on WeChat, you want to see pictures, add me as a friend. And you can see more of my daily Chinese stuff there if you're interested in it. I was teaching the kids Milozs Child, and he's the song on the end of the world. It always amazes me that his son sent me an email because I put the video from YouTube on, and it had an incorrect verse, and his son personally sent me the email, asked me to change it on my website. And the thing is, my website's kind of defunct, and I'm unable to really edit it. But I'm so deeply moved that Milozs Child himself contacted me, and I talked to him in email. Wow, it's, oh, small world, you know. And I've been using his father's poem for all my classes, a song on the end of the world. One of the mothers says that this generation, that they're not taught poetry and they can't appreciate it. And that kind of touches on the subject I wanted to get into. I wanted to talk about innovation and creativity in the Chinese classroom, but funny, I also wanted to talk about some other things here. like trade war and stuff like that. And what do we know about trade war? Well, there's a trade war happening. And I kind of talked about this before, but my wife is starting to ask about it. And my wife, you know, she follows the Chinese hardline news, like all the Chinese people do. She says China has nothing to lose. And I said, well, yeah, no, and yes and no. And you know how complex it is? The trade situation in China? All right, here we go. Ready for the crazies? Yes and no. The thing is and this is, I mean, where do we begin? Do you begin talking about the current situation in trade? I mean, you have to talk about the history. You have to talk about production. And when you talk about China being the factory of the world, we'll stay on the right just to avoid the headache from these guys. When you talk about China being the, I'm gonna stay over here. Just try to get past these assholes so I don't have to put up with their shit. You talk about China being the factory of the world. China was the factory of the world, and in a lot of ways it still is, but it's losing that title if it's not already lost. And companies, and lots of Western companies, they sold out their own countries. They wanted to make more profit, so they came over here and exploited the country. They exploited the resources, they exploited the people, they exploited everything just to have big profits. And a whole ecosystem was made. I mean, the Chinese people sold their own people, so they sold out themselves. And the foreign companies, they took advantage of it to bring profit. Everybody came to China, and in doing so, they built up a great ecosystem of production. Now, do you know, in order to support a production-only environment where you have to be a cheap worker and your life has no hope beyond that of a cheap worker's life. Oh, fuck. In order to do that, is the camera on? Oh, we get some good footage here for you guys. Alright, we're on. Oh, I gotta stop here. Sorry, can't do it one-handed right now. Too many people. In order to support the ecosystem of cheap factory life, China had to kill the spirit of individualism and kill the spirit of innovation and creativity. Who wants to be a creative factory line worker or an innovative factory line worker? And you know what? That's like the second wave. You have to realize that Chairman Mao in the Great Movement, whatever that fucker was called, he sent out people to the countryside that were doctors and that were innovative and creative. They had no choice. They went out to do some kind of jobs, and for better or worse, we're going to stay in our line, huh? They went out to do jobs that were not very creative and not what they wanted to do, but they had no choice. So that was the first generation of innovation killing, creativity killing, group thing. Wasn't always like that in China, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure in history though, to be a servant to the emperors, you kind of needed that slave-like mentality. So then came the factory of the world thing with Nixon and China opening up to be factories of production for other people, but not for themselves. Of course, the workers could never afford that kind of shit what they're making, right? That'd be impossible. Impossible to do. So now that's kind of the most recent history, and now that China's wages have risen and they've increased domestic consumption, and that the profits of greed have gotten so little for foreign companies, they want to turn around and they want to sell to people in China. However, the people in China now, they could afford to buy like they could never buy before. Now they've got all these systems here to produce, but they don't have the knowledge bank and the resources of human creativity and innovation to create, because a lot of those resources are poached. And why would you want to stay in a non-productive, non-innovative, non-creative environment? It's the environment for factory workers. When you want to think outside the box, so those people went abroad, and China lost all of its creative, innovative talent. And there's no seed, because the elite are concentrate their power and their wealth, and they're putting their money in Lamborghinis for their kids. And this is like it's sucking the youth away. And what it's sucking away is the resource of innovation and creation. And the system, well, if you put a bunch of pressure in a bag, you know it's gonna break on the weakest seam, right? So if you've got this great production capability that you could use as leverage, because nobody else has that ecosystem that you created for their benefits. And these guys are addicted. The other countries are addicted to the production and the cheap production ecosystem that they created in China. They're now addicted and relying upon that because they never developed their own ecosystem of production. So now that you've got a bunch of addicts and you yourself don't have the creativity, talent, you know what do you do? Well, the weakest seam would be to steal designs. And you could even, and how do you steal design? Well, you could even say, hey, you want a piece of our buyers? Then we're already making all of your shit here, but you got to make it with half. Now, instead of just making it 100% for you, we're gonna have half of your company more than half. Like GM, you want to come to China, you gotta be partner with Chinese automobile. All the Mitsubishis. Well, I never understood that when I first came to China. One of my bosses gave me a ride in his Mitsubishi Lancer, like, but it was also called Lion Cell, and Lion Cell was like the Chinese version company of it. So it had a Mitsubishi engine. It was made in the factory in Beijing, but it was half a Chinese company, and they pretty much got all the technology and all the research from Mitsubishi for free. But they were already doing that kind of thing. They just didn't full on straight out. I mean, so now they straight out do that, and all the companies realize, well, what are you gonna do? Now China did that same little thing with Mitsubishi over GM, and if you don't do it, like Tesla doesn't want to do that, then China charges 20% more or whatever for imports, and it's very, very hard. The market is very closed here. I mean, it's always been closed here. Do you know before 1990s they have these friendship stores, and if you want to buy a cola or some kind of foreign product, you have to be a government employee, and you go to these friendship stores in the cities, and you could only shop in these friendship stores if you were allowed to with your ID. The average person was not allowed to buy from the friendship store. Absolutely not. They had armed guards. So that was a lot more than what it is today, but that spirit still remains. And the Chinese people have no, the rich people are buying foreign stuff, but like I said, almost every foreign thing they buy, like look at my bike. My bike is made from, all these pieces on my bike are really hard to get in China because there's not a single factory in China that's co-owned, that is making, well, Shimano I think has some factory, but most of these parts are really not co-owned, so I got to import them all, and man, they tax the fuck out of it, really. And almost anything I buy is really difficult. Now, you might ask yourself, is this my beautiful house? Is this my beautiful wife? If days go on, stop the worries from. You might ask yourself, you know, anyways, you might ask yourself, why don't I buy Chinese stuff? Well, look at my camera, Garmin. Made in China. Great design, but there might be a Chinese copy that does a good job, but there was no innovative camera like the Garmin one I got on my helmet, because there's no innovative talent here. How about the individualism of the art, and the frame of my bike is made in Taiwan or somewhere. Probably many other pieces of my bike are made in China, and they're unique, but China will not consume them because people do not think uniquely, and they will not create them because there's no consumer based and there's no individual talent. So, you know, look at Huawei phones, and look at the cars here. The Chinese cars that are here, they're almost duplicates of foreign brands and models in one way or the other. They're a blatant duplicate. I've showed you examples before. So there's no ability to create. Now let's jump into my classroom, my university classrooms. The challenge that I told you about the other day, you don't realize that challenge, you know, getting the kids to bring their laptop and creative thinking and visual thinking and innovative, it doesn't, not only is it not supported, but the higher education and the universities, they avoid it like the plague. The teachers, they come from such a long generation after generation of removing and cleansing what is individual thought and innovation out of their educational environment. You know, of course, now I was younger, I was completely idealistic as a young man. Now you got to realize I'm not being idealistic anymore. Just basic teaching. I try to conform, but they have no room in this society for individuals. Even if you look at Jack Ma or whoever did there's a MIT graduate that started like Sohu or something here. He told the students directly, you have no hope of creating your own company in China. So the trade war, what's going to happen? Well, clearly, America's going to get hurt, because do you see them having a local production ecosystem in their own country? And all the other, it's not just America. Now, this ecosystem is moving. But it's going to take a long time to move into Africa and other countries to be exploited. But there's a huge and now the ecosystem's turned to consumerism, and they've copied all the technology, and they've copied so much, because, and you know, when they were producing it, it wasn't really copying. They've like commandeered it through their own production, right? And that was the people that were selling out their own production ecosystem to create the Chinese powerhouse what it is right now. They never, I'm sure they knew this was going to happen, but their own urge, they talk about right now strategic protection, and they don't allow Huawei to merge with other. Well, they didn't have any thoughts like that while all these fat cats were getting fatter to build the ecosystem what there is today, NAFTA and free trade and whatever else. They were like the GE corporate owners. So yeah, we would, if we could put a factory on a boat and move that factory to where the cheapest production is, country to country, we do that. And that greedy mentality created the situation we have now. So, but you know what? This whole situation is from a bygone time, actually. Now we are facing a new technological revolution that's merging with the conflict what we've created ourselves. And now with 3D printing and advancements in technology, it doesn't make logical, efficient sense to import things from other countries when most of them, the ecosystem of production can be recreated in distribution and localized production and distribution. It's much easier to conquer than it used to be. So while we are looking at the old, right now this trade war is like the last war of the last steps of, I mean, this is the last steps of a bygone era, and I believe that our what the elephant in the room is, what they're not talking about is how technology is going to localize production. And I mean, just look at the amount of resources that will be saved. The amount of resources saved by localized production should allow for greater profit margins than originally were made from producing it in distant countries at lower production costs. Before they would exploit people to make the profit, now they could exploit technological advancements for localized production. So this whole IPR based model that we're living on is in for a rude awakening. That is a topic in itself. Now, you know, why not buy food? And now I believe this situation in China is going to change, because you can't stifle innovation, creativity. And I do believe that this current system of idleness and lost creativity and lost innovation is not sustainable for the Chinese government. As people lose their jobs, people are going to become more innovative and creative. And human creativity and innovative can only be locked up for so many generations before it bursts out. Just like anything else you try to control, it's in human nature. So right now, I prefer to buy these things what I have on my head. And even with the current model and the current situation, I'll probably continue to do so. Now, should we try to do an experiment? Should we try to go straight? Let's see if we can go straight, okay? See this colorful market I haven't been in a long time. Let's see if it's possible. Can we do this? Give you guys some new insight. So I believe that what we're experiencing right now, this is the old chart part right here. This is a part that's disappearing. Can we go a different way? Okay. Unfortunately, looks like I've got no choice but to go this way, huh? Sorry, I'd like to take you guys on a fun ride, but I don't got any time right now. We'll save this route for later on, right? So right now, I would buy some Chinese product, but in my experience, the quality and the innovation of many Chinese products is not there. But you got to realize that I mean Chinese design products, but many of the products which I use every day are Chinese products. They're just made by a foreign company in a foreignly owned factory by Chinese workers. So when that innovative power is transferred into the hands of the Chinese, you know, they will exploit it as they've been exploited. And what did you expect when, I mean, this was, I'm sure, forecast a long time ago is a side effect to making great profit while creating an ecosystem which can later be used against the people making the profit. Now, I think though that this is just temporarily, that why the profits made from his greed, the sound that you're hearing is only the sound of the low spark, high heel boys. Yeah, boys. Is this the right way? Oh. Going the wrong way, I think. Let's see if we could go this way. Ah, getting lost. Probably cannot go this way. Let's see here, we teach Google a trick or two. But you know, the situation of, oh yeah, remember I went this way before. The situation of imbalance that exists right now, and of the, I think that we're gonna see this not just in the, look at Brexit happening. I think most people are going to look towards localized production because it makes sense for efficiency reasons, and there's going to be so many people without jobs. That's going to be an initial small pump in employment to help with the upcoming automation. The upcoming automation is going to, you know that, remember? This is the time of automation, automation. So with so many people losing jobs, I think we're going to see what is happening right now replicated all around the world. Trade wars are going to be, not every single country, every worker, every workforce, from all the people that are massively unemployed within the next 20 years will be engaged in so-called trade wars, what you see happening right now. And you don't see any mention of that in the mainstream media right now. And honestly, my bike, you know what? I've thought about buying titanium tubing and creating and welding my own frame to match the specifics of the frame I'm riding right now. Now I have a little bit of fear of breaking and dying because I don't know how to weld shit, but honestly, with the internet and practice, come on man, heating two metals together, there's got to be a tutorial I could follow that can make welding just another skill that's self-taught with today's technology, right? And that's where we're going to see the death of brands, and we're going to see more individual production, and this is what humanity is capable of when we're not forced to consume from other mass distributors and exploit it from others. When humanity is empowered through technological enlightenment, this is our huge fucking thing here. This is our huge thing, what's either going to set us free or enslave us. I'm here. I wanted to say before I get off the bike here that my tires, I'm riding so 27, 28 kilometers, 31 kilometers averages an hour, and I'm seeing speeds that I haven't seen since my aluminum Gary Fisher. And I realized that, wow, these high RPMs I'm getting into, like, you know, and I'm pretty out of shape right now. I'm still pretty fat, but I attribute them to these tires. So these tires are much, much greater than what I initially thought they were. Only I wasn't using them to their full potential. When I was just going at 60 cadence and just getting back into shape, not really pushing it, you know. Hey, Bama Kaimang Habaha, Abai. Hey, Shishne. I just didn't appreciate how great they were at first, you know? And now, even with loaded saddlebags, even when I'm tired, I mean, even when I'm fat and old, I get a smile on my face because I'm seeing these great, you know, these great average speeds, which I haven't seen for a long time. Hey, how are you? Oh, I thought it was my student's daughter. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so we made it in time. I don't got any eggs today. I ate some chocolate candy bars, huh? How bad is that for a fat old man, huh? I think today was a good talk. I think that I was able to keep my head together and cover all the basics. I wanted to talk about some off-road Baja California expedition I saw. Seemed pretty cool. Okay, what is my student's house number? I forgot here. Let's see here, put my camera down a little bit now that we're off the bike. Team U. Hi, I'm downstairs. Can you open up the door, please? Thanks. Ah, I got it. Oh, I feel so... Hi! Hi, it's me! Hello? Hi, can you open the door for me? It's not open. It's still not open. It's not open yet. Tamikai. And we already had a pretty good blog today about all those things we talked about earlier, which were trade war and stuff. But I thought, what the hell? I'm trying to adjust my shoe.
Head southward.
Got a slight problem with the tongue of these shoes being a little bit too big. Causes an issue sometimes. I better turn my lights on. We're gonna go through this side area. I thought I'd turn on the camera and show you guys some back streets a little bit. Before I go crazy going home. We'll see what this area is. And I'm going the wrong way, huh? Shit. My bad. My bad. Just got finished teaching those kids. The lady asked me where I got my materials from. And I said, oh, I got them from a long journey across time and space. And I showed them the teasers for the Center of the Net, what I used to work on. They said, oh wow, yeah, that's a great idea. I said, yeah, I am full of great ideas. Yes, sir. So I guess this is an easy route. My mistake. If this is just gonna go straight to the Loshi, then I'm gonna throw away this video. It looks like it is, huh? Oh well. Oh well, man. Thought it might be something special for you. Doesn't look like it, huh? I can tell you one thing, I don't go this route very much, though. I never have. That's kind of cool. A new road. You know, on my steel stallion here. What would titanium be anyways? Probably not that big weight difference, to tell you the truth. Okay guys, I'm not recording. I'll catch you in a future vlog because this is not what I thought. Bye-bye.